you to go!
If we go, there's a chance there won't be a fight. There's no powder. If we don't go in that, there's no chance. None. You understand? Go!
You've done everything you can do. Save yourself! If the worst happens...
You stay alive. If you don't kill him, they'll take you north up to Huron land. You submit, you hear? You're strong. You survive. You stay alive no matter what occurs. I will find you. No matter how long it takes, no matter how far. I will find you.
You're tall, but I'm standing in front of you.
It's a podcast.
Welcome to You're Tall, but I'm Standing in Front of You, the podcast where two friends circling the drain of academia examine the cultural detritus of the 20th century. I'm Devin.
I'm Ethan.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Good. You're feeling good, I bet.
Absolutely. We had a great Eagles win last night, as was predicted on the other episode. That is a movie that starts with the last. I don't know why we're doing these two in a row.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. I think it's just we are both approaching the end of grad school, and we are just like having this like kind of death drive compulsion towards the ends and the diminishment. But we have a very exciting episode this week in what is our kind of mid-season finale. We are joined by the folks from Better Read Than Dead, which you may have heard me on their podcast. I was on the episode to talk about Talented Mr. Ripley. It is not just the best literature podcast, it is the only good literature podcast. A podcast that if you're like, what would You're Tall, but I'm Standing in Front of You be like if they actually prepared and thought about what they were doing? It would be a lot like Better Read Than Dead. So Tristan, Megan, and Katie, please say hi and introduce yourselves.
Believe it or not, I'm going to do our intro too, just so we are the same dudes. So I have to do recording voice. Hi, welcome to Better Read Than Dead, a literature podcast from the left perspective. I'm Megan.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Katie.
And today we are on You're Tall, but I'm Standing in Front of You, because one time I bullied myself onto this podcast, and now I bullied all three of us onto this podcast.
Not at all.
Yeah, we have a books podcast, and we're very, very proud of it. And I was talking to a friend on Friday about my publication record, and I said, more people have listened to our Pride and Prejudice episode than have listened to everything I've ever written put together. Yeah. So that's not to say anything mean about my publishing. It's to say nice things about leave grad school, do a podcast, become governable. That's all I'm here to say.
Or go back to grad school, Katie, and still do a podcast.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. You can leave, you can come back, you can still be podcasting the entire time.
The important thing is just do a podcast, whatever's going on. And of course, yes, I forgot to mention, but of course, Megan has been on the podcast before. If you remember our episode about the Warriors. So we're thrilled to have her back. We're thrilled to have Tristan and Katie here. And of course, the reason we're doing this episode, which is on, Ethan,
The Last of the Mohicans.
The Last Airbender.
Oh, there's another last. That might be our next one.
That's our next one. Yeah.
If you have any recommendations of movies that begin with the last.
Yeah. Because of course, Better Read Than Dead did a fantastic episode on the novel The Last of the Mohicans, which I was forced to read in 8th grade and remember getting a C on the in-class essay because I wrote about like the father-son like relationship between like Hawkeye and Uncas
Chingachgook?
or something, and they were like, "What are you talking about? They're not biologically related. You can't do that."
Good.
I think like I basically got a PhD in English out of spite from that point.
Middle school English teacher fail right there.
Yeah. No, I was supposed to be like collecting blood from everybody and like just running like 23andMe's on them apparently. But we saw that you guys did that episode, which was great, and we thought what a great opportunity to have you on to talk about the adaptation by Michael Mann, of course. A director that people mostly probably associate with like kind of like crime mob movies, movies like Thief, movies like Heat. But then, in the middle of the 90s, he gives us this James Fenimore Cooper adaptation starring Daniel Day-Lewis. Tristan, I think you were going to start walking us through it, right?
Will you guys introduce yourselves, Tristan, Katie?
Yes, I'm and Megan, do you want to say? I mean, you introduced the show. Do you want to just say like who you are as an intellectual or whatever the fuck?
I thought I did when I said I wrote a lot of stuff and
you did. Okay, yeah.
No one's ever read it. Okay. What's the official? What's the state sanctioned version? I am an assistant instructional professor. And my professional my writing is on U.S. multi-ethnic literature and literature and photography and labor. And really, at the end of the day, we can all just acknowledge that I'm just a weed mom with a dream of a better world.
Amen to that. I'm Tristan Schweiger. I'm also an assistant instructional professor, same place Megan is. And what I did my dissertation is like 18th century stuff, which is part of why I am really into this movie. But now I don't know. Like when Megan said we mom with the dream of a better world, I aspire to that as well. So
I think that's 3 for 3 then on that. And I have not one kid in sight that I'm aware of. But I'm Katie Krivokolsky. I'm a first-year PhD student at NYU in the English department. I work
they made you do it again, like a bunch of schmucks.
Do it again. Just back to the year one. But I work on consent, religion, and literature. Mostly 18th and 19th century American. So this is squarely in the wheelhouse of things that I like that then got 90s-ified and produces all kinds of other emotions.
Yeah. And if you so I did say I would do the summary as a as a fan of this movie. I feel like Katie and I are fans. Megan thinks it's not good, and it's not like Megan's wrong, but I would say, I think that we must acknowledge how much better this is than its source material, which I'll get into. If you're really a Cooper head, which why? I mean, I'm curious to talk to you about this. You should listen to the episode that we did where Katie talks about the novel very knowledgeably. I'm just like, there's cool shooty guns and but anyway,
you're doing it with Cooper spirit.
Yeah.
How are you going to do this movie when all that they have canoes and that's about it?
With the ship, you're right. It's the Royal Navy is sadly not as central to
But silly Scottish accents.
Yes,
another Tristan
silly Scottish accents. Yes.
Yeah. And just to say, we are all about on this podcast the dialectical unity of good and bad.
Yeah.
Right. Bad movies are good movies are bad.
Yeah.
This is what we're all about here.
Yeah.
So I can't think of a more perfect movie to get at the core of that than a adaptation of one of the worst novels I've ever read. But somehow, processed through like Michael Mann in 1992 looking around and being like the Soviet Union has just collapsed, the Berlin Wall has fallen, like the information economy is on the rise. It's time to adapt The Last of the Mohicans.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it is definitely a weird sort of moment.
I'm just putting this in because I'll forget it if I don't mention it now. At some point we should do the far, far worse adaptation of The Scarlet Letter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, we should.
I haven't even seen it.
The one that my 10th grade English teacher covered the boobs in the witch scene with his hands. Just ran all around the little TV, just putting his hands over all the boobs.
Is this the Demi Moore and Gary Oldman one? Wow, this poster looks, oh my God, Gary Oldman's hair in this.
They end up alive and together.
I feel like when we did The Scarlet Letter as one of our first episodes, I feel like I tried to watch that and just failed. But
there's also a new Netflix movie of Lady Chatterley's Lover, which I have not been able to bring myself to watch.
Yeah, that sounds upsetting.
Okay, wait,
in many ways.
I'm sorry, I just have to interject. Like, I know this is kind of off topic, but the guy who directed this Scarlet Letter adaptation also, like, his first film was The Killing Fields.
With fucking Sam Waterston?
Roland Joffe or something, and he also produced Super Mario Brothers in 1990. That is the thing he did immediately before The Scarlet Letter.
Oh wow,
what a career!
Yeah,
this guy is totally in the Your Tallverse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, wow. That is far wackier than the idea of Michael Mann doing this. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, maybe I'll just start by acknowledging some of the really visionary innovations Michael Mann had for adapting Cooper, and I think they are visionary. So like, a lesser director would say, "Who am I to fuck around with the words of a great auteur like James Fenimore Cooper, who of course has a Jersey Turnpike rest stop named after him? I mean, this is a man of great literary weight. If he wants Hawkeye to say, as a white man with no cross who for 30 years has hunted these woods approximately 800 times over the course of a novel, that's what we have to go with, right? But Michael Mann was like, no, I can do better. First, what if the plot made sense? Maybe the idiotic scene where Hawkeye puts on a bear costume and everyone thinks he's a bear for real. Maybe we cut that and replace it with Daniel Day-Lewis and Madeline Stowe being extremely hot instead. Maybe
they did film that. They just the unused footage was put in Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
I do want to see Daniel Day-Lewis method act the original Cooper.
All right, Daniel, you need to be just pretend you're the stupidest person you've ever met and wrote a novel. Yeah. Maybe we don't need to have a scene where the principal characters mistake a beaver dam for a human village because, oh my God, that's the stupidest fucking thing that's ever been in a novel. Though I am going to actually this because I went to a talk a few months ago by Lynn Festa, who's this great 18th centuryist at Rutgers, on how the beaver in the 18th century was this huge conceptual problem because political theorists looked at the way they do construction projects and were like, these seem like political agents with complex political societies. Like they were really freaked out by the beaver, which also coincides with the beaver being hunted to the brink of extinction in the fur trade. So, Cooper's one of those, right? That he was thinking about a lot of things that aren't dumb, but he was dumb, and so they became dumb in his novels, right?
This is another one of those, like, a threat to the Calvinist logic of human superiority that Moby Dick fucks with, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, like, people in the 19th century were doing cool things with this stuff. It's just, our boy is not one of them. And
I love it when like smart critics rehabilitate a book though to be like, it could have been smart.
Oh man. Yeah, and I feel like overall Michael Mann is really trying to Walter Scott up this story. So I don't know how big of Scott fans your listeners are. We have a subset because of me being on the show, but like, Scott actually is good. And yeah, so like I feel like Mann was like, what if Cooper had been a vastly smarter person and vastly better writer? What could we do with this story? And Walter Scott would definitely have leaned into the Hornist around Hawkeye and Cora. I mean, I think that's a given.
The brunette princess.
Yeah, she's the brunette princess. Yeah, exactly. That's a famous Walter Scott dichotomy: the safe blonde versus the dark Celtic princess who makes you horny in an unsettling way. But
that absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not my position. This is the position of the Walter Scott averse. But yeah, I mean, and Hawkeye would not have been Scott's protagonist because Scott would have given us some ridiculous fail son who's like, for some reason, the close third perspective. But Hawkeye would have been in the Walter Scott version of the story.
It would have been Duncan.
Yeah, it probably would have been Duncan. Like Duncan would have, the bumbling Englishman who just arrives in this unfamiliar setting, and yeah, that is the Walter Scott arc. But yeah, okay. So the movie, we start with these misty mountains that are supposed to be the Finger Lakes region of New York, but it's actually North Carolina because upstate New York in the early '90s is too much suburban sprawl. Like there were too many planes and electrical wires they had to cut out. So instead, they filmed it in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, he said like they couldn't find any old growth forest that they could like they found like 2 acres that they were able to use at one point. That, like, there's like just none of this on the east side of the Mississippi. So but they did, I did hear, I was listening to the commentary from Michael Mann. They apparently got like planes, their flight paths to be changed to not
oh my God.
fly over this film set. So there wouldn't be contrails in the air, which I don't know how they managed that, but cool.
Can you imagine you're like, just on like your red eye to Chicago.
Yeah.
And the pilot's like, hey, sorry, it's going to be another hour. We have to like deviate there. Yeah. Michael Mann's making a movie.
That's a high budget movie if you can actually get the FAA to alter flight paths. But
speaking of high budget, one of the things that I don't know if anyone's going to say this, so if you are, just shut me up, but they hired a guy to tell Michael Mann to hurry the fuck up because like that was the guy's full job because he kept doing like 10,000 takes of everything. Yeah. And the studio finally just hired a guy to be like, move along, Michael. And that's all he did. Just stand right. And I think every kind of dork needs that, like a move along, Michael. That should be just a job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if I had been trying to make that, I would have needed that because this is 18th century dork heaven.
The real question is why there isn't like a Burden of Dreams style documentary about how Michael Mann made this movie.
Yeah. I would watch it.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh man. Also on the like not using upstate New York setting, I just watched the Val documentary, which I know you have, Megan. On the NXIVM,
which one?
The Val on the NXIVM cult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and which that story is really fucked up. But like what they like in the initial, it's like that it's based in Albany. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? you're going to suburban Albany. It's like this like great spiritual center. Anyway.
Oh yeah, of course. It's very holy.
Yeah. But so right. So we're not there. We're in North Carolina, but we're pretending that it's upstate New York in the 1750s. And holy fucking shit, the score. You're about to see some extremely damp shit. I always say this movie is porn for 18th century dorks like myself. That is what it is.
But there's actual porn from the 18th century.
Well, yes.
Sexy in different ways.
Yeah, this is sexy, and I want to watch a action movie that I can turn my brain off for a little while about.
Yeah, it's not porn. It's not 18th century porn. It's porn for 18th centuryists.
Yes.
Very important distinction.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do we need this 30-second shot just showing the costumes of the British soldiers as they're marching? Like, just their legs?
I mean,
Yes,
absolutely.
we do. We
Yes.
need
It's
that. Double it.
I want to see some gams.
Yeah.
do we need that? No, but yes, we absolutely need that. Yeah. So we get the mountains, and then eventually we're with Hawkeye, played by Daniel Day-Lewis. Chingachgook, played by Russell Means. And I actually think this is Russell Means' first movie, which kind
It
of
is, yeah.
blew me away.
Because he was famous for other shit before that.
Yeah. Whereas Eric Schweig, who plays Uncas, I mean, this was, I think, his first big movie. Also, he's very young. So, but yeah, Russell Means was known for other things.
He's very dishy, and if a person is watching this for Daniel Day-Lewis, they are wrong.
So yeah, okay. So the three of them are running through the forest, just balls out sprinting, because they're hunting a buck. And as any hunter, I think will tell you, that's how you do it. Hunting is popular because of the full speed sprinting you do constantly, not getting loaded with your buddies in a deer stand at 5 a.m. But these aren't real. Yeah, the point being they're real hunters, right? Hawkeye shoots the deer, and that's how you know these guys are legit. So we've got two real Indians and one fake Indian, right? I mean, that's the kind of trio we have here.
A man without a cross.
A man without a cross. But and Megan, I know one of your great specialties is fake Indians in literature.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
Better than real Indians at being Indian people.
the white libertarian
We've all seen
position.
Avatar: The Shape of Fantasy. I haven't seen the second one, but anyway.
Oh, we saw it. All right.
Oh, I heard. Yeah, no, I listened to it. And I felt like, that's fine. That's enough for me.
Absolutely. The last of the Mohicans film really walked so that Avatar: The Way of Water could run in terms of demonstrating to white Americans that they are actually the superior natives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Following right on the heels of the Kevin Costner masterpiece, Dances with Wolves.
Yeah. Yep.
Another favorite of my dad's. It was Dances with Wolves, or it was Last of the Mohicans. That was what was on, or whatever Western was on.
But there are good Westerns. Did he know this?
He knew there was Dances with Wolves. And
I am sorry that your father is no longer alive, so he can't watch Fort Apache.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's watching it in heaven.
That's actually the only film they screen in heaven. It's just like an old VHS copy.
Oh my god, yeah, for sure. They're like, we have Henry Fonda here, and we're just gonna watch this one movie.
But so Chingachgook and Uncas are actual natives, and Hawkeye is the white, yes, the white settler who is somehow and this is from Cooper, the more native than the actual native people. But he is good at Indian stuff, and maybe even better with the pew pew rifle, right? Like they all have special skills, but Hawkeye, he's he's the one that knows how to handle the flintlock the best. And I say in our episode on the novel, to sort of expand on that a little bit, in our episode on the novel, we kind of said Cooper is inventing libertarianism, and the film doesn't not do that, right? I mean, it does. It's uncomfortable about doing it in a 90s bourgeois liberal sort of way, but it's still doing that, right? But yeah, but the film does take some more liberties with the novel here, and again, that Michael Mann visionary, he's like, what would be cool if Hawkeye had a backstory, so there's some interest or effort to create interest around him and explain his motivations, rather than just having him as this blank that rants for 400 pages across several novels. Wild shit, right? Like character development, that's crazy.
Although we have Katie here to fill us in on details about the other books if we want.
Oh yeah, they're totally different from this one in the sense that in those he's different ages when he can shoot anything and speak any language and is the greatest white man to ever not be white, the most whitely in the whitest of ways.
They all of the titles are basically the same too, right? Like the Deer Slayer, like
Yeah. They're like, this guy's got a gun. What about it?
yeah, out in the woods and shit. But yeah, so that's wild. We're doing character development, crazy that Michael Mann would take such liberties. And the backstory that we'll learn is that Hawkeye's white parents were killed when he was an infant. Chingachgook adopted him and raised him as his son, along with Uncas.
No, he didn't. Devin wrote a paper on it, and it got a C.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's not his dad.
Sorry. Yeah. Apparently, there is some disagreement from Devin's 8th grade English teacher. And Hawkeye in the film calls Chingachgook his father, which I don't think he does in the book. I didn't remember that, but
Chingachgook calls him my white son. He's like, why are you arresting my white son?
Yep.
But yeah, and so Hawkeye actually only learned English when Chingachgook sent him and Uncas to Reverend Wheelock's school, which was a real thing. Nice little 18th century nugget. Katie's like rolling her eyes. So Mann really amps up Hawkeye's sort of fake native person bona fides. So Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas stop at this farm on the frontier of upstate New York, owned by their friends, the Camerons. And we start to get some situating dialogue. So we learn the 7 Years' War is on. We know there's fighting in the area between the British and the French and their allied native tribes. And a nice foreshadowing moment, and very unlike Cooper here, Mann tries to create interest in these characters, the Camerons that he's about to kill. And I wish that James Fenimore Cooper back in time could take notes on this. The next day, the neighbors are there, white people and native people. There's this very amicable sort of interracial amity happening. Very again, like in a very 1990s liberal reimagining of like what American history could have looked like kind of way. Which again, I think, but okay, we still are stuck with the inescapable problem of the settler colonialist presence. But we'll try to massage that a bit, right?
They just want to chill and play lacrosse. That's all anyone wanted to do. Yeah. And then the British came in and ruined it for everyone. Specifically the British government. The settlers, of course, are just minding their own business.
Everybody was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And then the niceness got broken up.
Mm-hmm.
The village of NPCs where they want to just throw balls around and sit around a fire.
Give each other fetch quests.
That is an important point, though, that I think that the novel similarly does, but probably for different political reasons, is that the problem of imperial presence is, I think, very much cast as you said, Ethan, as the British government and not like the white settlers. Which I mean, if we're thinking back in like Cooper's day, okay, well, there is some kind of critique of the imperial metropole happening there, but it's also really letting off the hook a lot of other participants in this project, So
yeah, and the way this is filmically staged is really important, right? Because it's like we are establishing this community, with the implication that this is stable, right?
Yes.
This is sort of like self-contained, stable. Will perpetuate indefinitely unless there is like an exogenous force, right?
Yes.
And then that exogenous force is the arrival of the British Army.
It's Jared Harris.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's right.
When he shows up,
a mere 200 years before his suicide in a Manhattan skyscraper.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I remember being like, "Oh my god, that's Jared Harris," and then forgot until you just said that Jared Harris is in this film.
I think of him as being Andy Warhol.
Oh, that's right. And he Didn't and he that Doris Kearns Goodwin, Daniel Day-Lewis vehicle, Lincoln, or let's call Lincoln, right? He plays Grant. I remember that as well, which is
damn, he just showing up all over history.
Well, and that was right when
he's the Forrest Gump of American cinema, or British cinema, I guess.
That was also when Mad Men was on too, so I had just gotten done like watching him play like Lane Price, and then watching him as U.S. Grant was kind of hilarious. But yeah, good actor. Okay, so right. So the as I said, everyone's having a good time. It looks stable without, if it's not unsettled by these other forces. And so the white farmers are basically debating whether they'll join up with the militia to help the regular British army. And Hawkeye is like, no, that's stupid. And I mean, he's right. In the terms of the film and historically, don't help the British army or the French army for that matter. So next big scene, we're in Albany. LOL. I don't know. You might have listeners in Albany. I'm sure there's just something about Albany as this presence. And again, I think the Nexium documentary that I just watched might be played into that. But they're at the headquarters of General Webb, who is negotiating with the leaders of the colonial militia. So the militia are like, okay, we will help you fight the French, but if we get words our settlements are being attacked, we get to go leave and defend our homes. And Webb's officers, including Major Duncan Hayward, who in the book is a Virginian. He's the Royal American Rifles or some hilarious name.
This one, he's a virgin.
Yes, in this one he's a virgin Englishman. Yes, that's right. So he will be important, this Duncan Hayward guy, and the film makes him an even bigger hard-on than in the book, I think. And he sucks in the book, but the book doesn't know he sucks, whereas the film knows this guy sucks. And so he, the other officers are like, "God, sedition." But Webb is cool. He's more interested in treating us to some 18th century style intra-white chauvinism. So he's
my favorite kind of racism.
He's like, of course you can go home. The French will never fight because they're both too Latin, ha ha ha, and Gallic. It's literally, this is what he said. And I have to say, what the film is doing, that is what 18th century British assholes would have said about French people. Oddly doesn't own them for being papists, which they kind of dropped the ball on. She should have really played up their nefarious connections to Rome to really
the movie does that though with the demonic children's choir at camp.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes. There's the Catholics on the frontier. Yeah, you're right. Good. Thanks for mentioning that, Katie. I neglected that part. But so the militia accepts these terms. They agree to go to the forts, and they're going to join the British Army at Fort William Henry on Lake George, which the French are going to attack because Lake George is kind of the British route to Montreal, up the Hudson River overland and then through the Finger Lakes into Canada. So Webb also sends the two daughters of the fort's commander, Colonel Monroe, with Cora, again played by Madeline Stowe, and Alice, played by Jodie May, to join their dad. And he sends Magua, played by Wes Studi, awesome, maybe the best part of the film, who is a Huron whom Webb thinks works for him, to guide them. Magua, of course, hates the British, and particularly Colonel Monroe, and frankly, for very good reasons. Another thing I think the film tries to do is give some more overtly stated reasons for why Magua has this sort of animosity and fixation that he does. And he wants to kill the daughters to, quote, extinguish Monroe's seed and Monroe himself. So Magua leads them into an ambush. Yeah, okay. So fortunately, Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas, who have been tracking the Huron party, come to save them with one of several just amazing Jerry Bruckheimer with flintlock muskets action scenes. Megan's just slowly nodding, yeah. I'm
see
into
Megan
it.
dying.
Just as an example, Chingachgook throws his tomahawk at some dude's back and kills him. which if you've ever thrown a hatchet at a tree like we do in the country, and I assume everyone here has done that, right? Like, I mean, 10-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Get
we got a gym for that on Washington Avenue, but I can't say I've got.
No, that's the hipster-fied version of this.
Yeah.
This is, I'm talking how we do it in the country, and then have to dodge like a dumbass when it bounces back at you. Which, yeah,
I still think all the time about how you got a sheep stepped on your head.
that's true. Yes, I did when I was 4. We had a pet sheep, and I tripped in its paddock, and it just stepped right on my forehead, and I had a hoof print on it. So. It's Delaware for you folks. But yeah, so awesome shit. Cora is also pretty much immediately hot for Hawkeye and vice versa. And the audience is supposed to be hot for all of this. And this is also extremely funny because Duncan proposes to Cora in one of the first scenes of the movie, and she's like, LOL, no.
It's this very like staid scene with this, like they have this like little like table set up in the field, like it's like we're simulating proper British society here.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's totally stolid and flat.
Yeah.
The table in the field is a stunning visual. It's insanely fucking funny. And then we get right after that, you get like the words that no older sister in a movie wants to hear except for this one, which is like, oh, I see your younger sister. Oh my, you've grown up. Haven't you grown up? The younger one's grown up. Not both of you are not making it out of this movie because you've grown up.
Yeah.
We all love to hear how hot our younger sisters are. It's the greatest of all compliments.
Oh man. Yeah, but you are right about that the table, this this like polite English society. I mean, which is it is just it falls flat and is flaccid along so many levels, right? In part because it's being juxtaposed to America, which is hot and rugged,
Unforged.
Okay, so, what's that?
And unforged.
Yes, right.
And engorged.
So the 6 of them head off to Fort William Henry. Alice gets super fascinated by a waterfall in some bizarre foreshadowing at the end of the movie where she throws herself off a cliff. And I was texting with Megan about this, and Megan, you're absolutely right that it's, I mean, we'll get to that point of the movie, but it's the sort of the threat of like sexualized violence that it's like, well, suicide is the only way out of this. So that is, I think, absolutely the subtext. But like where you first see it, she's like, hi, I'm the young sister, I'm the happy fun one, and then she just sees a waterfall. It's like, whoa, and they grab her like, no, don't do it. So it's the way in which like whatever latent and I think like frankly racist fears are sort of undergirding this just gets very like bizarrely and kind of comically, like unintentionally comically, like psychologized there or something. But so they come across the Camerons' farm, and it's been attacked, and the Camerons have been killed. Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas know it was definitely a quote war party and not a random attack because no goods were taken. So the only thing that's happened is the people in the house has been burned, but like nothing's been stolen. This wasn't like a raid for supplies or whatever. And so Cora's like, aren't you going to bury the dead? And gets very mad when Hawkeye says no. There's this tense scene, which, absolutely is building to like a sort of sexual tension where he like turns around and says, they were not strangers and they stay where they lay. And we're like, oh, that's so dark and badass, but so Cora, of course, thinks, oh my God, this guy is so mysterious, hot. That night they're lying next to each other, and I think at this audience, the moment the audience is like, yeah, we like where this is going. This is what we paid to see this movie for, right?
What are swelling violins for if not this?
Mm-hmm.
And Cora asks why they wouldn't bury the Camerons, as if it isn't completely fucking self-explanatory, right? and Hawkeye says, well, if there were graves, trackers would know they had been there, which I mean, I don't think we really needed to have it explained. But
I like how they also, though, like they had no qualms with just like noping out from like this battalion of British soldiers that lay dead in the middle of the road. But they're like, we gotta bury the settlers, though, right?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. They have. I had forgotten. They have actually left a big pile of dead bodies behind it without much thought about it. Yeah. So okay. Not only is Daniel Day-Lewis hot, and he's got the romance novel cover hair, and he's super awesome with a musket. He also has this mysterious woodsman's knowledge. Like, whoa, right? I mean, this is just getting damper and damper. She asks him why the Camerons were living on the frontier, and Hawkeye says they were ex-indentured servants, and land in the, quote, wilderness is the only land poor people can afford, and they could live, quote, beholden to none, not living by another man's leave. So we do have an interesting class/settlement claim here, though still obviously embedded in settler colonialism and kind of going in a libertarian direction, much like I sort of feel like Cooper was as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but you do get some of it. You get the sense that there are economic compulsions,
yes,
that are structuring this settler colonialist activity as well, right? It's not purely like a moralistic issue. It's like an economic one as well.
Yeah.
Though, like you say, that gets expressed in this very kind of like for lacking a more socialist vision, right? That you're going to end up in a libertarian space when you're doing that.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think that is a good point. That I mean, like earlier we were saying that the sort of forcing all of like kind of colonial violence on like, oh, it's the presence of the metropole, like lets a lot of other stuff off the hook. But I mean, I think the economic weight of the metropole is like a real and centrally important force in imperial structures. I mean, that is, that's right, and that fucked over a lot of people at many different levels. Though that the answer is not then that there's a nice and kind version of settler colonialism, right? But I think it is true. I mean, the film is at least trying to sort of think about those sort of like economic structures in a way that I do think. I mean, there is some sort of interesting point there. It's just the politics of around it are like, okay.
Well, it's interesting. Sorry, it's interesting to think too, just the larger, like to think a little bit just about like the larger Michael Mann filmography here as well, right? Which like this isn't that different from like the Heat thesis in a certain way, right? Of just like but instead of bank robbers who are like kind of depicted as these like this vanishing working class of like like that are becoming obsolete, right? And they're running out of places to go, running out of places to hide. It's like Michael Mann is like you get the sense that he kind of sees this kind of like historical continuity from these kind of like libertarian settlers to these sort of like the way he kind of like hagiographically depicts criminals as also these kind of like not exactly anti-capitalist, but like within capitalism people who find like the little alcoves in which to inhabit.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and I hadn't really thought about like his other filmography along those like at this specific moment, but that sounds right to me. I think that's a really good point. But yeah, so Cora is getting very turned on for Hawkeye and vice versa, and she's also getting turned for, that's right, America. Quote, "It is more deeply stirring to my blood than any imagining could have possibly been." It's like, okay, we know where this film's going, right?
Can we just acknowledge for the fact that the first time when you think they're going to consummate their love, what happens instead is like he's a guy with a half ponytail telling a creation story, like and you just think like, who among us hasn't been in this situation where like you're just like trying to and some guy with a half ponytail won't shut up.
Yeah. No, and he's like, and then you see, and then like Ian Curtis killed himself, but then so they become New Order.
Right.
And then
Shut up.
Okay, so they get to Fort William Henry. The French have already laid siege to it. The force is led by General Le Marquis de Montcalm, our pal did the shit out of it, and digging trenches closer and closer to the fort. Uncle Toby from Tristram Shandy would be extremely into this scene. Like this, this is what Uncle Toby spent his whole life tried to recreate it in Walter's backyard, and Michael Mann just does it. Although Toby, I'm sure, would have been like, that's not what a rampart does or whatever, But anyway, we got a 2-parter on Tristram Shandy. People should check it out.
Great novel and great episodes.
And great movie, believe it or not.
Yes, yeah, with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. Yeah, I taught a course on Tristram Shandy last year, and we started with that film. But so they're moving the trenches closer and closer. When they get 200 yards away, it's basically all over for the British, because then they're in range with their mortars and they can start lobbing explosive shells over the walls. So shit is getting dire. Hawkeye sneaks Cora and Alice and Duncan into the fort, though, which even in the novel, I think, like, why this? You see this happening, you leave. You're not like, oh, let's get more civilians into the middle of this, right? But yeah, Monroe is shocked to see them, and I mean, like, yes, so I think he should be. But Duncan tells him none of Monroe's messages about the siege had made it to General Webb. So like Monroe is expecting relief, and Duncan's like, we didn't even know like this attack was happening. So they send out another message asking for reinforcements. Meanwhile, Hawkeye wants to tell the colonial militia about the attack on the Cameron so they can go defend their farms. But Monroe says, no, there's no proof it was a war party. And Duncan lies to back Monroe up on this. He's like, yes, I agree. There's no proof it was anything other than sort of like random frontier violence. Hawkeye is furious and tells the colonials anyway. A lot of them decide to leave, but Hawkeye stays because he's like, yeah, pretty sure Cora and me are about to get it on. And they do. It's hot. There's lots of fiddle music happening, lots of very heavy strings.
They have more clothes on than anyone has ever had on. They put extra layers on.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of doing a film version of like a popular, like actually got widely printed 18th century novel, right? We're not doing John Cleland. We're doing like Walter Scott, right?
But what we're also not doing is the romance novel of the 20th century.
Yes.
That this deserves.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. But this did get an R rating, though, I think, didn't it?
Because of the heart eating, maybe.
Was it the violence? Yeah.
It's definitely not for the sex. That's pretty tame.
Yeah. It was rated R.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. There
Did
are
Michael Mann do that on purpose, though? Because he's Michael Mann, and he's like, "Fuck you! I don't make anything but R-rated movies."
Yeah. Okay. So, but Hawkeye, of course, gets arrested for sedition. Cora tries to intervene on his behalf. Duncan is again a hard-on about it. She's like, "No, this is not happening. We're not getting married, bro." But the French mortars are in range now, and shells start fucking their day up. So Montcalm asks for a parley and is exceedingly French. It actually a fun. I mean, this is something I do think is like a kind of cool cinematic moment, like the differences between the two sort of like aristocratic cultures, where Montcalm and his like brilliant white regimentals like walks up and he takes his hat off and does this very flourishing bow that goes almost to the ground, and then Monroe, the dour Scot, just like nods at him. It's like, I see. Yes, that's France versus Britain right there.
And France is so important for this, like, and like we, if you go back to our episode about Prey from which I think was like the season 2 debut, right, which also deals with like the French colonialists, like French colonialists serve a very important function for like settler colonialist US cinema. Which is like, it's kind of this release valve for like, well, we can all agree and like make fun of the French and look how silly they are. That kind of like, kind of sublimates some of the larger issues.
Historically, it is funny though how that happened, because like in the the U.S. War of Independence era, I think well into the Napoleonic era, it was like France are our friends because fuck the British. But then at some point, like the gross ass Anglophilia takes back over, and then it becomes like like our big brothers in London hate the French, so we got to do that too. It's very it's weird how like the U.S. starts like replicating like a British kind of position. But I mean, it's not that weird because I mean we are like a legacy of the fucking British Empire, but and again, that's not in no way trying to defend the French Empire here. It's just it is kind of weird the way like US sort of like biases of that shift from like the early 19th century into like the what we have still today.
Well, because they wear fancy clothes and look gay about stuff.
Well, yeah, and I think in the 20th century, he gets like caught up with a bunch of like red scare bullshit that like they're commies, even though it's like France has had Gaullist governments for most most of the current republic, but but they have like a reasonable work week, so they're pinkos, but
yeah.
Anyway,
so DeForest Kelley has to come in and do a little speech here. No.
Where's
the stupidest Scottish accent that we've ever heard, the most intense.
That bastard.
I'm missing the DeForest Kelley reference.
Oh no, I'm just saying that it's like this kind of Scottish accent that makes paint peel.
Oh, okay, I got you. Sorry, I was like, wait, was DeForest Kelley in this? Like, how did I miss that?
There's only one stupid Scottish accent in this movie.
Yeah. Gotcha. So he shows, so Montcalm shows Monroe an intercepted message from Webb, where Webb straight up refuses to send reinforcements, and for reasons that are a little bit opaque. Actually, historically, like there's a lot of debate, like, wait, why he could have relieved this fort? Why didn't he do it? Probably because he seems like he sucked, just as in a lot of different ways.
Not DeForest Kelley, the Scottish guy. What am I talking about?
I was trying. I'm like,
okay.
You mean who played
James Doohan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
I just mixed up the names
now. Yeah, no.
It's like McCoy. When did McCoy do it?
Not McCoy. It's fucking Scott. Yeah, anyway.
I'm giving her all she's got.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, yeah. I just like completely ruined all Star Trek credibility that any of us had, and so like no one's going to listen to our podcast for the rest of
I feel like if you're mixing up the actual actors' names, like that indicates a familiarity with the property that
Okay, it's not. I know the character is perfectly fine. It's just the
In the Kelvin timeline, it was who, what?
If I had said Simon Pegg, then I officially would have been axed.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Webb's not gonna come to the fort. Duncan says the men would rather die than spend the rest of the war in a prison barge in Hudson Bay, which honestly sounds right.
Tristan,
what's that?
You'd rather not be in a boat?
In a prison barge in Hudson Bay, I'll let that one go. How are you going to get there? How many miles of taiga do you have to march through to get to it? But but Montcalm offers very generous terms of surrender. No POWs. They get to keep their guns and their colors. So their honor. And Monroe agrees after calling Webb out for being a coward with an extremely Scottish accent. It's like, never did I think I'd see a British officer refuse to. Yeah, anyway, it's great. A lot, very, very high military feels happening there. But shock, it's a trap because of those perfidious Gauls. See, Montcalm is strategizing with Magua, who is kind of pissed about the surrender because he wants to kill Monroe and his entire family. And the film is clear that Magua kind of has a right to want revenge on Monroe, and beyond just the broad structural reasons, which frankly are plenty reason enough. Basically, British soldiers attacked his village and killed Magua's children. Magua was taken as a slave by the Mohawk, who were allied with the British, and Monroe was the commander of the army in the area, so he holds him kind of like personally responsible for this. And Montcalm he does some like, oh, please don't do that, but then it's like, well, they surrendered, so chill, right? but Magua has no intention of doing that, and Montcalm isn't really bothered because he thinks, yeah, they're probably just going to fight me again. So I kind of am washing my hands of this. And again, this is this sort of attack on the retreating forces that historically it did happen, and there is some sort of debate as to Montcalm's actions there. But yeah, he's basically like they were going to fight me again. Go have at it. I'm done with this. So Magua leads a Huron attack on the retreating Brits. He does kill Monroe and cut his heart out like he said he would. And yeah, that might be the R rating right there. In the battle, Hawkeye escapes and then helps Cora, Alice, and Duncan escape too. There is a pretty base canoe chase where they go over some waterfalls, and Alice again is excited. She the pull of the abyss. And then Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas leave the daughters and Duncan behind a very scenic waterfall because Magua is on their tail. They have no gunpowder, and Hawkeye reasons if they aren't there, then there won't. If he and Uncas and Chingachgook aren't there, there won't be a fight.
And this is where the GIF of "Stay alive no matter what," right?
Yes.
They're behind the waterfall, and that's like the GIF from Last of the Mohicans. Is that?
Yes.
Is that what he says? I'm like, paraphrasing.
Yes. He says, like, they're gonna do really fucked up shit to you. They're gonna do rape. They might do murder. They're gonna do it all. But just stay alive because I'll find you because I have the longest rifle that anyone.
Right.
Yeah. So Magua arrives, beats the shit out of Duncan, and I think I speak for the entire audience when I say we're fine with that. And he takes the three of them prisoner. Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas tracked them to a Huron village. Magua is asking the Huron chief to let him burn the Monroe daughters as recompense for Magua's children. But Hawkeye enters the village and does this dick swinging thing where he basically has to run a gauntlet and get the shit beaten out of him. It's very like, oh yeah, we already knew how tough he was, but look at that. He then has this argument debate in English, French, and the Huron language, which I believe is Wendat, with Magua, which is I don't know. There is a lot of like claims and complexity around this. I would be kind of curious to who can speak to whom in that exchange. I think is interesting in a way I haven't really gotten my head around.
Yeah, and I think like I this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, actually, just because like the sound design is just great because you have all these like kind of like overlapping voices. Like Duncan is translating and like it's actually happening like in real time. You can hear like things being restated in French, in English. Some of it's subtitled, some of it's not. And just sort of like the kind of like linguistic chaos of that scene is like really palpable.
Yeah.
And Wes Studi's French is so catastrophically bad that anyone can understand it at all is kind of astonishing. So it's bad language games too. Like there's just all kinds of, I agree with you. When I watched it this time, I felt like, oh, that's a really interesting way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't speak French, but I knew like how bad like that French was. But I think that works so well for the scene too.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I mean, he's communicating in a very in a sort of forced manner. Like, I mean, he's trying to win this debate, but like linguistically, there's the register it's in kind of keeps moving, and so it's a really effective scene. So at one point, Magua says the Hurons can't rely on the French. They'll get in the French good graces of traders. I'm sorry. Magua says the Hurons can rely on the French, like the French are their allies, right? They'll get in the French good graces as traders. And Hawkeye says basically, you're going to be as bad as the Yankees, the French and their masters who have grown sick with greed. There's some jockeying now as to who is going to be burned at the stake. The Huron chief wants to give Alice to Magua, release Duncan to appease the British, and burn Cora for Magua's children. Hawkeye offers himself for Cora, which Duncan translates as Duncan, wants to be burned in Cora's place. Cora and Hawkeye escape, and Hawkeye shoots Duncan like as he's being burned to kind of and end his pain. Very emotionally damp violent piece happening right now. And I'm curious what you guys think of that, and this does not at all happen in the book. This is when the bear scene happens. The bear
We're in a different world, and there's a guy like singing hymns off key and tooting the flute and like
But like, I tell you what is happening is Duncan basically is like, yeah, I lost, like you won, dude. And then, but then there's like this very like there's like this masculinist honor stuff happening there. He also, I mean, legitimately, I think is trying to like make sure that that Cora and Alice get away. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it more to it than that, or is that pretty much what's happening in that scene?
Yeah, and I mean, also just like I feel like just like on a formal level, right? There's just sort of like this libidinal energy, you know, that the movie has been generating. And as we've previously stated, Duncan is the virgin in all of this, right?
Yeah.
And like
in a movie full of chads.
Yeah. and it just like, but like his moment of death is also his moment of penetration by the long rifle, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, he kind of, you know, the novel needs to do something with him because Michael Mann's universe cannot countenance virgins. You know? And so it carries him around as this sort of dead weight throughout the movie. And then it's like, okay, you get to like come once.
Right.
And also die in like a single act.
Yeah. No, I think that's
the Billy Budd-ification.
Yeah.
The right. Yeah, the Billy Buddification of James Fenimore Cooper's terrible novel. But yeah, you're right. It is very much the virgin Duncan Hayward versus the Chad Natty Bumppo, right?
Who is the biggest virgin of all in the books? Like, there's no bigger virgin than Hawkeye. Like, he has no. His parents never even had sex. Like, he came from nowhere and he's leaving nothing.
Well, because he's basically like his identity is like Eagle Scout, and I mean like of the Boy Scouts, right? That's like you could go in like being a man is going into the woods and knowing how to tie cool knots and shoot, you know, like it's basically like if I could be at camp for the rest of my life, that's what I would do, you know. But
I do feel like there's something different with how they take. First off, Duncan had overstayed his welcome by the point he is dead. So bye. But I feel like you look at like modern property, like this is really saying like Duncan, who is inherently British, will never be an American. So there's not going to be a scene where like he proves himself like, wow, you're of the land now or something. Like he has to die. I feel like in more modern films, you'd have that they were like, look, you can also become an American through your actions. And it's like, we're not having any of that. Like, nope.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
He gets the only funny time someone dunks on someone else in the movie, which is when Hawkeye explains how he's gonna go west. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna go turn right," and
he's like
whatever.
He's like, how? What do you mean you're going west? He's like, well, I'm gonna walk north and then real sudden like turn left. That's a great line.
When this was in theaters, I'm sure like the boomers just stood up in the theater at that scene.
But you're absolutely right though about his like that he could never be an American, which is, I mean, like the idea, like who gets to like that, like the white settler that gets to claim or like create this like bullshit autochthonous, which I mean that is what like the fake native thing is 100% always doing, right? But it's so funny that it's like being British means it's like all of you fuckers are like, you know, I mean, like, but anyway.
This is also like where Magua says, and then we're going to find some other Indians, and then we're going to get tough, and Sack and Fox, and we'll all be traitors. So it's like, that's interesting to me too, right? So he's sort of like presenting the possibility of an indigenous persistence.
Yes, definitely.
Whereas, you know, like James Fenimore Cooper's whole bag is like the last of, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and again, like sort of one of the, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about the broader politics of the movie, I'm sure, but like it does in so many ways have the feel of like, again, a 1990s like Clinton era, or almost Clinton era, I guess, like bourgeois liberal like reimagining of America. And so like it's the idea that like the Cooper's working with, right, which is that like native culture is like gone, it's been completely displaced. Like the film's uncomfortable with that, and I mean it does replicate it in some ways, which I'm about to get to, but like it also, it's like, oh, that's kind of shitty, and but like that, what you just said, Megan, like that is a moment at which like there is like some kind of interesting sort of like political claim or vision or alternate possibility that does emerge from it, which it doesn't really go anywhere, but it's an interesting moment.
Well, I could talk about this all day, but like liberal sentimentality in U.S. Literature and cinema is like contingent on the fake native. Like it's a primary orienting figure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't, like we could and should talk about this relationship in this movie between sentimentality or sentiment and its politics, but that's not what you're talking about. So sorry.
Yeah. Well, but that is like the origins of the historical novel in like the 18th and 19th century. That like what you just said is like sentimentality is so much a part of that. Okay. So just to wrap up the film, final battle, Hawkeye, Chingachgook, and Uncas track Magwa's party and Alice. Uncas somewhat unwisely decides to do a direct frontal assault, which is pretty badass, but Magwa kills him. Alice then throws herself off a cliff, and we already have talked about that a little bit, but it is, it I don't know. It reads as it's the like the dramatization of this like perceived threat of like sexual violence that's happening around in these very racialized terms, and then like the only option then is presented as suicide, right? I mean that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's totally right. I also think that what this movie's doing with the presence of the feminine, like that Alice is going to die because she can't grab the gun. Like Cora grabs a gun at one point off of a dead guy.
Yeah.
And that's something Alice would never do and never does. And so it's like it's a very 90s thing of like like we have all these like heroine figure like at this time right around here. So if you're a woman and you want to live, you have to prove you'd kill to do it, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. That's you're right. That I like that. And that does. I feel like we do see that a lot, like in cinema around this moment. Yeah.
Especially in historical fiction, I would suggest that it's like a revision that is important to us in some ways. Like the lady needs to be able to take care of herself. I mean, sorta. Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's right.
And not in a cool James Cameron way, to return to that guy.
So Hawkeye and Chingachgook, they hit the party from the other side. Extremely epic fighting, rifles being tossed and fired. Hawkeye and Chingachgook firing two muskets at the same time, like they're in a Schwarzenegger film, except it's flintlocks, which is wild.
Totally possible.
Yeah.
Chingachgook has this baller fight with Magwa where he does this cool ass spin finishing move with his sword. It's very Mortal Kombat style. And then we end on Hawkeye, Cora, and Chingachgook, who, with his biological son dead, is now, the last of the Mohicans. So that idea of like the end of sort of native culture does come back in the film. But I think, like as we were saying, as Megan pointed out, there are ways in which the film tries to like not fully follow that impulse. Although I still think that's the world that's the viewpoint that it's operating within in so many ways.
Well, the stakes are different, I think, is what I mean too, right? Like, so Uncas being dead in the book is to some degree like it's not just Last of the Mohicans, but also it's a way of curtailing the potential for miscegenation, right? Because he and Alice have a crush on each other. But but in this movie that it doesn't seem as fucked up about. It's not fucked up about miscegenation because it doesn't identify Cora as mixed, and I put that in quotations. So that's not its imperative. And I always, Tristan and I were talking about this last night, but it's rather convenient that it's not in reference to the real person, Uncas, who lived to be like 95 years old.
Yeah. He's and he's a 17th century person too, I think, right? Like he's
yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's not like Cooper had read.
He lived into the early 18th century, but but he is like his source is a historical person. That like Cooper had read so much. Like, I mean, he did legitimately know a lot of the history. He just did not
know how to write a novel. But I just wanted to underscore something you said, Megan, for like people who haven't read the book. Yeah, like there's this kind of to do in the book about the fact that Cora is Monroe's child from when he was in the West Indies, and her mother was, has Black ancestry, and she is racialized in this way that the film does not at all follow. But like one thing we talk about in our episode with the book, that like one reason why it's Cora that sort of gets killed in that is what she represents is this sort of like outcome of like this fear of miscegenation has to be contained, which of course, I did like early 90s sort of liberal filmmaking, that's not the impulse it wants to follow, but like fears of miscegenation are still like present in other ways, or just like the legacy of that kind of like racial panic is still present, I think.
Yeah, and it's very strange because I find myself like, and I ended up watching this film twice. And it's like when that Cora is characterized that way in the book, like I kept like thinking, oh, I zoned out during the part where they establish her ancestry.
Totally, yeah, I thought that too.
And like she's like the like darker featured one, she's like the kind of, she's the sexy dark-haired brunette lady. Yeah. So like there are these ways in which like if you know that already from the book backstory, you can kind of read it into the film, but the film does not actually establish that. And there's this way in which almost just like it wants to change that characteristic of her to just like, oh, she's just like the really hot one. Like right. She's the one that like her and Daniel Day-Lewis are just like put forward as like, oh, this is just like, these are like the hottest people you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then like
she's
there's
the
these
Walter
other
Scott
people.
heroine, really.
Yeah,
Like she's like the brunette. She's like a Celt or a
just that.
And then it's like the characters that the film thinks are like slightly less hot, like just like one dies and then the other just has to immediately die after. It's just like whoops. It's like completely forget about that. But it's like, it's okay, don't worry about it, because the hottest people who just also happen to be white, but also like have the knowledge, are there, and they are going to self-perpetuate.
All Chads live.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for Magua.
Yeah.
Like the dark Chad though, like he's like the black pilled Chad, and movie can't deal with him.
That's true.
No, he doesn't die because he's a Midwest 10 instead of a New York or LA 10. He dies for other reasons.
Yeah.
The Walter Scott comparison, I think, is actually really interesting. One, because like Cooper was 100% reading Walter Scott's like, oh my God, I want to do this in America. It's like, bro, you're not that good. But like Scott, so Scott is this Tory who's very into the project of like creating the United Kingdom. But like Georg Lukács was really into, because he's like, yeah, even despite that, he actually does get sort of how historical structures operate in a really interesting way. But like what Megan was alluding to, like the blonde brunette dichotomy in Scott, like basically every Scott novel is structured by, you have this dopey Englishman who finds himself in this like near colonial setting, usually in like Scotland, and there's a very like safe like sex love interest who is like the blonde kind of like Saxony lady, and then there's the dark-haired Celt who's like usually has kind of like a domness to her, but is like but this sort of like but is also very the novel's very horny about, but it's like in that like split of the two versions of femininity, we have the Celtic past, which we can romanticize but must contain, versus like the blonde like British quote unquote future. And like I definitely think Cooper is trying to do a US version of that has many added layers because of like actual racialization. But then I also think the Michael Mann film is like comes out of a long history of this sort of stuff in literature too, literature and politics.
Well, it's perfectly also fine for like if this were a different movie or of the sort of like liberal sentimental fake native tradition, like a white guy can marry a native woman,
right? But
there are like no other forms of miscegenation that are available in this sort of order, and so that's like never going to turn up in this. You know, like the other can be colonialized, which is like a grotesque way to put that, but you know what I mean, right? Like that's possible, but like White Hawkeye couldn't be with black, no, but ancestrally African diasporan Cora.
Right.
Okay, so we're back, and I think Devin.
Yes.
People are sick of hearing from us. They want to hear from the real experts out there, who, of course, I'm referring to the people who review on IMDb.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is a little game that we like to call Vox Populi. And the way it works is I have to make up something different every week, apparently, is what we've fallen into, which seems like a real crummy deal on my end. But
Yeah, what the hell, man?
yeah. But here's how the game is going to work this week. I've got 3 different reviews here from imdb.com, and each of these reviewers have a gripe with The Last of the Mohicans. Some of these gripes are very specific. I am going to read to you all the title and like the first few lines of the review, and then the game is going to be who can best guess what this person's gripe is with The Last of the Mohicans.
Okay.
All right.
And sometimes you said they're like really specific. They're not always just like the colonial impulse is too present.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah. I don't think that's. Yeah, I had to skip through all of those IMDb reviews.
Oh, Megan, you took my answer.
Sorry. Oh.
Okay, so to get us started, this first review from April of 2004 said
I always like to know. I always like to know when these were written as well. So.
Yes, so there you have it.
2004.
This was given.
We're in the middle of the Bush years.
Okay.
Mhm.
Re-election.
Iraq has just been invaded.
Yeah.
John Kerry is possibly dead. And this person sits down and they watch Last of the Mohicans.
And Tristan is you are in this part of the world as a young and green reporter.
That's right. Yes, I was. I actually wrote about that, like not the Kerry one, but yeah, like other people on the ballot. Then this is the election too, where John Kerry, shout out to the Philadelphians here, showed up at I think Pat's and ordered a cheesesteak and tried to get Swiss cheese on it, and
Yes.
like it just like okay, man.
That's when I knew he wasn't going to win. That's when I knew he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
You can get provolone though, right? There's like 2 choices.
Yes.
Provolone
Yes.
is okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
American people will accept that some
Yeah.
places, but you really should get Whiz or Prov.
Yeah,
Okay.
like if you go to a random deli, like deli in the Philly area and ask for cheesesteak, you're probably getting American on it, so it is an acceptable choice. But yeah, provolone whiz. But like, yes, no, fuck off, cutters. You know,
I don't understand how this always happens. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
Obama
photo
did
op.
it too.
You don't need to order what you actually like.
yes. yeah, exactly.
Like, it takes 30 seconds to Google, what am I supposed to do? You just order it, deal with it.
Yes. I literally think that whatever aide's job it was to whisper like you order it with whiz, he's like Kerry couldn't comprehend this
So it's
and
like
just
Swiss,
said
yeah.
Swiss. It must be Swiss. That sounds like
yeah.
Okay,
Well-
I want to hear it from these reviewers. We're in 2004, so we're just time
Yes,
traveling.
Let's see if all of this knowledge serves you well. This person gave The Last of the Mohicans a 2 out of 10. The title of this review is "Would have been a
Ouch.
good movie, but ... Everyone knows the tale of the Last Mohicans. The plot didn't change from the novel. For the most part, you see, I enjoyed the movie, except Well, not to put a fine point on it, you see background. I'm going to pause there.
Mhm.
I have no reason to use this voice for this person, but I'm just going to use a different voice for each reviewer. But so that person's a 2 out of 10 from April of 2004. The title would have been a good movie, but so
And is that word background? Is that followed by like a colon or something?
No, a period. So
Okay.
But we're about to get like some kind of backstory for why this person gripes with the movie.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you
of the movie.
I don't want to tell you what it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Is the person pissed about the telephone pole? There's a telephone pole in this movie. There's a telephone pole in this movie. It's one of the bits of trivia that I looked up before appearing on this podcast. But there's a telephone pole in the background of a scene. There's also a breathing dead person, which is incredible and a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, I am getting from this a little bit of the like Star Wars geek who is like, they forgot to put in the lightsaber once, and so you see a piece of CGI pipe. I am getting a little bit of that, but I don't know. It's like there's something that feels like this is either going in a racist direction or just very culturally conservative. So I'm kind of wondering if it's like, but the novel didn't have the fornication that this film smuts it up with, even though, as we discussed, there is actually, I mean, everyone keeps all of their clothes on constantly, but that's kind of my guess.
Except that Daniel Day-Lewis has the deep V of the American Apparel deep V of 2004.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I think he's a gun guy. This reviewer is a gun guy, and it's like you can't hold two guns at once. Or in this,
the reloading wasn't right or something like that.
Exactly. I think this is a gun technology, guns and ammo magazine sort.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also just want to add one thing, if I could amend. I'm going to say that this is a personal problem that this individual's having. I think this is a personal problem.
Okay.
I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction because I think that your like Southern accent that you lapsed into was actually like misdirection. And I'm going to say this person's actually like a Francophile. And they have issues with the way that the French are being depicted in this film. They do not feel it is historically accurate.
Okay.
And or maybe they're like Irish and just really hate the British, and they don't think the film is hard enough on the British. But like some kind of like historical issues with the the French and British depiction.
Yes, all good suggestions there. Let me go ahead and finish this review, and we can see who gets the most arbitrary points by how close you all were.
Has the little Walton Goggins score tabulator.
Yeah. Everything in this show is arbitrary. So, background. I'm an old bushwhacker. Grew up in the deep woods of Canada's northern forest since I stood the height of a squirrel's knees. The woods looked like the ones in the footage. Camped out, hunted the normal thing, just like the guys in the movie. So that is much like me. So I know you see, well, I don't know how to say it, but every single scene, I sort of burst out laughing. It's ignorant, I know, but you see, no bugs. Hey, a close-up, Daniel Day-Lewis. No bites. How does it do that? Clean as a whistle. Everyone else in this movie, no bites. No bugs. Couldn't get over it. And no see-ums. If you ran around the forest all day, you see bugs everywhere. Yeah. All the time. From dawn to dusk. No forest on this planet has no bugs like that. Bugs are part of the forest.
I'm so sad because I did in fact text that to Tristan when I first watched it, is that there are no bugs, and I was mad.
Wow.
You did.
But I thought that was because it was filmed in North Carolina, and the South is like just awful in terms of it's worse than Albany.
Okay, so you found Megan's review from 2004.
Wow.
As a college student, I had to write IMDb reviews.
Yeah.
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 Can we find and bring this person on the podcast? I am so
Yeah.
fascinated by this
Yeah,
person.
I mean, and look, it's not like that's right. I mean, I'm like he's right, you know.
Very true. Yeah.
But the quasi southern accent was misdirection. You should have read that in like as like Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up there in Canada. Yeah,
You grew up there in,
you know,
no bugs.
Can you imagine cracking up through this movie and it being because you're not seeing bugs on the screen?
That's your mimesis drama is not enough bugs.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Ethan, how are you going to dole out any points here, if any?
Yeah. So the whole Francophile one, Devin, I don't think I can award you any points for that because that was wrong.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Now, Tristan, I think you talked about the sexiness of the book, and I think that like the rugged nature of the bugs, actually, in a way, is what he feels is missing, which is the rugged sexiness of being in a real forest with real bugs. He goes on to identify a number of different types of bugs in this review. Yeah. So I'm going to give you 1 point for that. Okay. Megan, the gun use not accurate. I think this is sort of along the lines, and the fact that you had pointed out the bug situation before. I'm going to give you 3 points. Why not for that? Yeah. But I also feel this is a specific detail. So, Katie, I'm going to give you 2 points for sort of calling out it's the minute detail that this person has. So, yes. So, Megan, you're in the lead.
Hell yeah!
At the end with 0. So.
Yeah, I have a long tradition of never winning this game, even when I'm the only contestant. So.
Okay. Second review from also April of 2015. This review is titled "Very Poor Adaptation of an Excellent Novel."
Oh my god! Oh my god! That it's already
who likes this novel.
It's already so wrong.
Yeah, put yourself in that headspace.
Wow.
And this person begins. Warning, spoilers, they preface. Having finally got around to watching this movie after reading the novel last year, I was compelled to compose a review to vent my utter disappointment in the movie. I'm going to just pause it there. That's all you're getting. What do you think their chief concerns are with this film? They gave it a 1 out of 10.
Too sexy.
Too sexy?
Yeah. That they object to the way Hawkeye was characterized, in that why doesn't he say, "I'm a white man with no cross who's hunted these woods for 30 years" every time he opens his fucking mouth, regardless of what it's like? Hey, Hawkeye, you want a cheeseburger? As a white man with no cross who's hunted these woods for 3 years, I killed my own deer meat and grinded it. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know if it's too sexy or not enough bear costumes.
Oh yeah, that's and also it doesn't show how what a wily hunter Hawkeye is, and what the bear costume scene. Also, how come it doesn't make claims about how beaver dams are easily mistaken for human structures?
Yeah. I do think we have to remember that this film is coming out in 1992, which is 5 years before the Angry Beavers series has started. So, this person is watching it in a post Angry Beavers world.
Okay, all right, fair.
I think they're being a little unfair. Yeah, I mean, I would guess maybe also something about the changes to Korra, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not liking those, or just maybe just in general being like, this is like a schlockification of a great sophisticated novel, reduced to like action and fun and enjoyable things to watch.
I am sorry, sir. They do not just hand out Jersey Turnpike rest stop names to anyone. No. You need to be an intellectual to get such an honor.
Molly Pitcher? Hello? You think she was just anyone?
No, I don't.
No. I'm gonna say perhaps this person might be pissed about the same thing that I'm pissed about this movie, which is that Daniel Day-Lewis did it too normal. He played Hawkeye way too normal. He's not wearing he's not wearing 900 beavers in a way that makes you just regret being alive. He's not there's none of the weird stuff, and yeah, I'm going to say that's this person's balanced and normal complaint.
Let me tabulate all of this. Okay. So here's where this person continues in their 1 out of 10 review. Yes, it looks pretty, and yes, the music is beautiful, but I cannot understand the reasons for deviating so far from the original plot. The novel was perfect for a movie. 2 romances, multiple action scenes, conflict, death, and a unique central character.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I quite like DDL in his other performances, but here he was so unlike Hawkeye in every way.
Damn, Katie, you nailed it.
No humility, quick to anger, lustful and arrogant. Hayward was unlikable.
He's unlikable in the fucking novel too. I mean, Cooper doesn't think he's Cooper doesn't think he's unlikable, but Cooper's an idiot and doesn't know what's in his own goddamn book.
Cora lacked depth, while Alice, Uncas, and Chingachgook were dull and forgettable.
No.
You think Alice isn't dull in the book?
Oh.
Yeah.
The changes in the romances were unnecessary, as was the introduction of the militia storyline. This took up time that could have been spent with the bear scene, probably. Developing the characters so we actually cared about them when any of them died. Which I think we talked that they did actually do that in how they changed to the movie.
This person has such an interesting brain.
I think this is a high school senior.
I can only guess that the people who love this movie didn't meet these characters on paper first.
Yeah. No, I think Megan's right that this is like a high school book nerd that's like, oh, I read this 400-page dry ass behemoth, but I'm going to pretend that I really recognize its literary merit. That you're right, Megan. That's exactly what's happening here.
This brain is not developed enough to be able to withstand the pure Chad energy of this movie. It's like all the inside out style control room of this person's brain, just like everything's at maximum. There's steam coming out of the computer, people are pulling levers and stuff. We don't know what to do with just how just badass and not giving a fuck this movie is.
Yeah.
Which comes with maturity.
To me, this is like the boy equivalent of the person who writes their AP Lit exam on Pride and Prejudice and then is like, that movie, Kitty is not even a fascist. And the guy, whoever it is, Colin Firth or Matthew McFadden or whoever, doesn't look exactly like the Darcy I had in my mind, who is in the grand tradition of men who like mean nerds and that stretches across time, and surely I, 18-year-old mean nerd, deserve the hottest man possible.
Yeah. No, you're right. This is the boy version of that.
So we're going into our last review. The points as they now stand, having run it very consistently. Devin is up to 2 points. Tristan and Megan, you're both tied at 5 points, and Katie has taken the lead at 6 points.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I've got to nail this one.
You got this one's for all the marbles.
You're definitely going to get it. Yeah. This last review comes from also April of 2007.
What's going on in April where people get this urge to watch Last of the
They're
Mohicans?
getting ready for the AP Lit exam.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, so this from April 2007, a 3 out of 10, and the title is I Don't Get It.
I don't either.
And I'll just give you the first sentence of this, which is, I'll give this a 3 out of 10 for trying to be an epic. So, what is the gripe that this person has who apparently doesn't get it?
trying to be I mean, I don't even know what they're mad about, to be honest.
I just saw Troy, and that is a movie that does epic.
Yeah, I think there's it's like that the war doesn't end in the movie or whatever. You know, it's like, oh, this is supposed to be, there's supposed to be a war and a battle and a clear victor and a clear loser, you know, and instead it's like the war here is sort of like this background context for a somewhat more kind of smaller scale, you know, conflict. I think this person is like upset that it's like, well, what the fuck's going on in the war? Who's going to win it? I'm not going to look that up. Like, how am I supposed to know what happened?
So this person is the most obnoxious version of me that my superego has developed over many decades to contain. It's like, no, stop that, you fucking dork. No one cares.
No, I think this person is mad about like the nuts, guts, and butts factor, that there's not intestines, that there's not like dangly 18th century balls, you know, that you can't smell the movie as you watch it.
Insufficiently syphilitic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd still like, okay, what does this person think epic is? Oh man. I don't know. I honestly
Lawrence of Arabia.
yeah, right. Or like Troy, like you were saying, Megan. Honestly, I feel like one of you guys has already hit on it. I don't know, like that spin move that Chingachgook does at the end that I said was bad as Mortal Kombat. Maybe they thought it wasn't serious enough because that's not what you would do with a sword in that situation. Like unnecessary energy beatings. I don't know. Or mad that the head doesn't, that it's not more Mortal Kombat and the head doesn't pop off. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, this viewer clearly was not watching the Indianapolis Colts in like the 2000s and 2010s. Like a spin move does a lot of utility.
All right, so I don't get it. 3 out of 10. I'll give this a 3 out of 10 for trying to be an epic. The music that everyone raves about is frankly ordinary.
Oh my God.
Try a movie like Legends of the Fall if you want truly great music.
It's the same fucking soundtrack. It's the same thing. Like...
Feel like I'm getting Brad Pitt points here.
Yeah. You're all actually hit on some very good things aligned with it. So, as to war movies, The Patriot beats this movie by a factor of 10.
The Patriot is one of the dumbest movies I have ever seen. Like,
hopefully you're getting in the mind of this person now.
Yeah.
For one thing, Mel Gibson's character is a suitable centerpiece, whereas this movie lacks one. Some of the scenes...
I can't believe I'm defending this movie, but is Mel Gibson or Daniel Day-Lewis a better actor? Just empirically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, the suitable, you mean the Francis Marion, who's an abolitionist, that the fucking Patriot like conjures into existence, like the white planter in South Carolina who's somehow not racist, like what the okay, this wow, I'm getting mad now.
If we fill a movie with Australian actors, maybe they won't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes are truly bizarre. Have a look at that tea in a field scene in the first hour of the movie. Why on earth were they in the middle of a field having tea?
That's the point.
Yes.
I have never done a date or thought about doing
And why did the camera zoom back to show us this highly improbable location?
You're right. It is much less probable than the bear costume working.
Yeah. This director's expanded edition DVD has a bunch of stuff removed from it, according to other comments. This is a major drawback and goes against the name, Director's Expanded Edition. Yet 19 of the 20 most recent comments give this movie nothing less than an 8 out of 10. Most give it a 10 out of 10. This DEE DVD has no commentary. No extras of any kind. Why? Because this is one very ordinary movie, people.
Man, I did not see the DVD coming into this.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Turning on the other IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bold.
So, some poor movies are sleep-inducing. Others simply failed to draw the viewers in. This movie is in the latter category, without merits, frankly. The only reasons I can think of for the high votes are 1, the usual ballot stuffing by the studio shills, or 2, those who love blood and guts movies and enjoy seeing realistic scalping scenes.
What?
Michael Mann makes great and awful movies. I've got the special edition of Heat and like it a great deal, but both The Insider and Collateral were immensely awful. No reason to see this movie. Rent something like The Prestige or The Guardian instead.
This person is so all over the map. What the fuck? I mean, this is a good lesson, I think, for any writers or filmmakers, that you really can't anticipate audience reaction all that well, because just people think weird things. I did want to say real quick though, on the soundtrack, this is, side detail that I learned doing prep for this. Apparently, so Trevor Jones did the soundtrack, and apparently at first Michael Mann's like, yeah, I want like an electronic score, which I guess like Chariots of Fire or like The Year of Living Dangerously. I mean, there was a ton of that shit in the 80s, but then this gets to like the bizarre timeline of this movie. Apparently like 2 weeks before it was released or something ridiculous like that, it's like, no, I actually want an orchestral score. And so Trevor Jones had to restore the entire fucking thing. But that violin shit that everyone, including myself, loves, even though it's, yeah,
schlocky.
Shit. was originally going to be an electronic score, which is kind of, I don't know, different movie. Yeah.
Where is the Barber Adagio for strings here? Not doing the work of what's the movie that has that famously?
Platoon. Yeah.
So, at the end, after tabulating everything, it looks like our final scores are everybody has 10 points except Devin, who has 8.
I feel like Katie has 12.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all of us also.
Yeah, well, if you'd like to donate a couple of your points to Katie, so we actually have a winner, I will allow you to do that. So
I feel like that's just right. And also, Katie is the one who does all of the labor of writing our game, so it's
you deserve a win.
Yeah.
Also, I think you win.
I've never won one of these before because I've never played one. So
no, you haven't. That's right. You never, at 105 episodes, you have never played the game. That's right.
Wow.
Because you write it.
So thanks for your points donations. This means a lot. I'm glad we could savor this together,
And that, everybody, is Vox Populi.
All right, so getting back to the film, something I'm thinking about is, sort of this film as part of what kind of feels to be like this larger moment of kind of like revisiting the Western, revisiting the frontier, revisiting these Native American tropes in film that's happening in the early 90s as we're entering this kind of, we're on the cusp of this like Clintonian era, this post-Cold War era, right? And it's like, so you've got Last of the Mohicans in 1992, right? You've also got 2 Westerns winning the Best Picture Oscar in 3 years, from 90 to 92. You've got Dances with Wolves, which obviously has a lot of shared sort of tropic issues with this one in 1990, and then 2 years later, Unforgiven wins the Best Picture Oscar. And I think before that, it had been quite a while since a Western had won. I think there's only one other Western that's won the Best Picture Oscar. And yeah, I think it was Cimarron or Cimarron in 1931. So you go from having
wait, did the Searchers not win? That's actually pretty extraordinary.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
So you've got a Western winning in 1931, and then you go from one Western to 3 Westerns from 1990 1992. And then you've also got, a book like Richard Slotkin's Gunfighter Nation, which is this, thorough examination of sort of like the myth of the frontier in 20th century Western cinema, coming out also in 1992. So there's like a lot of, for whatever reason, just a lot of kind of like cultural discourse and even academic discourse and stuff kind of revisiting these kind of these genres, these tropes, these kind of like questions about Americanness and the settler colonial legacy and stuff, all kind of happening right at the moment that like history has supposedly ended, right? And like Fukuyama and whatnot. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering what everybody thinks about like that and sort of why that moment is happening, and then we can get into maybe like what Last of the Mohicans specific like politics within that context are.
I think, and thank you, I really like the invisible presence of Devin's boyfriend, Frederick Jameson, to this conversation.
He's my boyfriend.
Everybody's boyfriend, Frederick Jameson. I'm comfortable with being in that polycule. I mean, this is just a supplement to what Devin is saying, which is that I think the sort of fake Indian tradition is so, I mean, it's really persistent in U.S. cinema, but one of the ways that it really comes into being is in 1970 with Little Big Man. And so this sort of way of expressing a certain version of whiteness through the fake Indian who is a white guy in the diegesis of the movie who's like made native by a particular sleight of hand where he like joins them, and earlier, at least with Little Big Man, it's like it's the like Michael Rogan thing, right? Like escaping a certain other kind of racialization in favor of this. But I do think that the 90s version of it is so continuing this investment in like liberal sentimentality, or like the libertarianism that like Cooper invents. Right? Like Kevin Costner's much more libertarian than Michael Mann to me.
Yeah.
And I think like this movie just has to be taken as it's like 1992 Western.
Yeah.
And its historical effort is just doing the 90s.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I watched the Siskel and Ebert review of this because I was just curious. It's like, and
awesome.
It's like, what I mean, it's just their whole show is so of its moment, like their opinions are so in their moment. But like one thing they were mad about is like there's the romance storyline is dumb, and it's like, guys, the whole thing's kind of dumb. Like that's that you want people, anyway. But the thing is like they were talking about in very kind of liberal sentimentalizing terms of the like the sort of like how that viewpoint sort of tries to think about and contain the native. But I think like one thing is what they were like, we wanted it to be doing more history, and it's like, okay, to what end? And I think though that that like to the like what Devin pointed out about the resurgence of the Western, and then what you were saying, Megan, like liberal sentimentality. I mean, I do think that one way you can understand this film with those Westerns is post so much of the political struggle of the 20th century, where like into even sort of like bourgeois liberal circles, you do have a recognition that, okay, like the Western is like so rooted in like manifest destiny bullshit. Like so much of like these big like quote unquote American epics are doing versions of that now like we have like some headway has been made that we are uncomfortable with certain directions of that. So how might we reimagine them? And like I do think in Last of the Mohicans you do get a few interesting moments. I mean, the point that Megan pointed out with Magua, where he's kind of envisioning a different kind of political arrangement that are actually really interesting. But I think it's sort of it fails to imagine its way out of its legacy in that it does want to resolve it, like not at the level of sort of like structure and, you know, sort of like material struggle, but instead at this liberal sentimentalizing, like, what if we just felt different about US history, and like what if we recognized more like thorniness of it, and sort of like as this kind of individual emotive response to, you could sort of reimagine US history, which of course, as you know, as Marxists, we're like, no. Like, I mean, that's you know, you don't like all of this is embedded in the structure. You can't just change your feels about the structure and then things are fine, you know.
Well, changing your feels involves casting actual Indian people, because that means that like we can persist in our sort of like, oh, racism is like so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad that there weren't any Native people anymore, and like it's just really like sad, and didn't they disappear?
And if they disappear, then why can't they be CEOs? Like, it is very much the psychosis of early 90s optimism. And I think like one place where you see how very deeply 90s this is, and trying to trying to be like the West, like this was America's such a good project. It just needed some tweaks. And the way our way in here is the Western, which just needs a few tweaks. The ladies need to be able to climb by themselves. The Native antagonist has to get a few dunks in. All of these things, like the kernel of that is in that tyranny speech, I think, where Daniel Day-Lewis is sitting in the camp talking about tyranny with all these people who want a dessert, and it's like the solution to tyranny is we all individually sneak away from tyranny quietly through the woods in this way that like, and then whoever is the best at getting away from tyranny will individually then do something who knows what, like what's possible then.
Yeah, you know, and this makes me think back to one of the reviews that Ethan read for us, you know, during the game. But not to give that person too much credit, right? But this complaint that the film is not actually an epic, right? Yeah, and it's kind of like it can't be an epic in a true sense. Like, you know, it has some of these epic trappings. Like, it has music that reminds us of epics. It has moments that remind us of epics. But formally, it can't actually depict like history on that scale, and still provide the kind of like liberal reconciliation it wants to provide. It has to like go into this, like the movie becomes physically smaller as it goes, right? The armies literally get massacred. We're no longer dealing with big armies, big groups. We're now dealing with this like just like you know, like familial drama, right? And like
Yeah, and nobody wins, right? So that's going to fuck with your idea of an epic right from the get-go.
Well, and I think too, like this, like, you know, in addition to just all of, I mean, just broad, like, you know, colonialism and its legacies, the 7 Years' War as a thing goes directly to that, in that, like, in many ways, the 7 Years' War is the first modern war, and that it was a truly global conflict. I mean, it was kind of the first World War. Its origins are basically impenetrable for anyone other than the elites of the metropole. It's just absolutely nonsensical, and like, but that's not an epic struggle. Like, the epic struggle happens because, oh, this, you know, one hero fucked this other hero over, or there's this identifiable villain that we must do, and it's like the empire, the villain of the 7 Years' War is imperialism across the globe, and like the ruling class. And it's like, well, okay, unless we're doing, you know, storming the Winter Palace hours, there's no fucking there's no space for heroism in the epic sense there, you know. There's
no space for tragedy either, like as the other genre choice, which Cooper doesn't make that choice either, but for the reasons I think we've talked about, like that's foreclosed.
And it's interesting how little interest the film has in even attempting to explain the origins of this conflict, right? The conflict is entirely just this thing that happens. It exists outside the film and then just like enters into the film already happening.
Well, Which honestly is, I mean, that like that's not that far from like a Lukácsian point. That like
Yeah.
from the perspective of the this sort of like the the working classes or the these kind of frontier settlers or the native tribes on the ground, it doesn't the causes are mystified and hidden and do just suddenly erupt into your life in a way. Well, okay, what the fuck now am I supposed to do? So that is a direction that it could have pursued. I think more interestingly had it been just had its politics been more robust and smarter,
Well, it does do the Lukácsian thing of no great man.
Yeah.
Right? Like nobody appears who's like, oh, the king has to make a decision about what to do.
Yeah, and it's like even the supposed like great men of this conflict can't even get messages to each other, right? In a sensible way. Like they can't even tell each other the fractured pieces of totality that they glimpse. They cannot reliably communicate to one another. The communication networks are all interpenetrated with spies and subterfuge and manipulation, right? And also just like guys not giving a fuck.
Sorry. What actual thing where I do again, like I do think there are several moments where I think the movie like verges on doing something really interesting. But like on that no great mad idea, right? Where like in the parlay with Montcalm, he's like he tells Monroe, he's like, you have already done so much for the honor of your prince, and like which is like the heroic statement of like an aristocratic rationale for conflict. Which I mean, in even the terms of this film, it's like it's no like the honor of George the Second. Like that's what we're doing here. Like no, like literally no character in that film. Not just as us as commie viewers, but like literally no character in that film buys that logic. And so that is the sort of like epic value system that is like even in the film's own terms, it's like that's ridiculous, And
that is a laugh moment, right? Because the French are so silly in that. He's doing like the silliest version of the French. I think that actor is French, but he's still overdoing the French accent.
Like the French in particular have this capacity to like the French can be so French sometimes. Like it feels like they're making fun of themselves. He really nails that aspect of it.
It also feels like I love watching, because you referenced it, Devin, the like what is Oscar-batory in different historical moments, right? Mm-hmm. So like ironically right now this sort of that a bunch of people like business fucks could not understand what Parasite is about.
Yes.
Because that it won the Oscar is like, did you watch? Or like Moonlight is actually it's similarly like, wait, did you watch that movie? And in the early 90s, it's like you need swelling violins and a Western trope, and nobody, not a hairbrush to be seen for 1,000 miles for it to count as Oscar worthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. This is a moment where like Woody Allen would never win an Oscar.
Right.
And not for like the right reasons, but
Weirdly, Megan, what you're saying, it makes me think of how impenetrable the movie ironically is. Like that's what's like in any way elevated about it is just that it's a little bit it chooses to be confusing in a different way than Cooper does, and somehow that's the thing that like ties the two versions together most tightly.
It's also like all of that epic stuff is completely aesthetic and not a plot orientation, right? So it has a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is about like it has the aesthetic trappings of an epic, and the score and the costumery that looks very it's both like super elegant but also dirtied up in exactly the way that we want it to be.
Yeah.
Right. So there aren't any bugs, but
no, that's the thing with the bug thing. It's like, okay. Like there was a moment where like any medieval film, like they were like, okay, the way we did medieval epic in the 40s and 50s was bad, where everything's like all glossy and technicolor. That's bad. Or that's stupid. So instead we're just going to throw mud all over. And it's like, okay, this is more historically accurate, but it is actually kind of like watching some of those films is like, it's like, okay. I mean, I kind of want to get sort of like, turned like what's happening here, and like everyone looks like they have, like plague, right?
Yeah. I want to imagine there's not feces.
Yeah.
In the scene.
It's like I know
Yeah.
intellectually there is, but I mean it's like, okay, like if you do very, very sort of quote unquote realistic historical drama, you're making a choice about how it is that you want to think of that historical moment. And like Last of the Mohicans does, I think you guys are right, want to pay like some homage to that impulse while also maintaining the romance cover like potential of it. Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm sort of obsessed with the historiography of the best picture, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
I've got the winners up here, right? And like, so we should say Last of the Mohicans wasn't nominated.
Yeah.
But you look at like the winners of the 90s, right? And you've got films like, so you've got Dances with Wolves, Silence of the Lambs is a little different, but then you've got Unforgiven, Schindler's List, Forrest Gump, Braveheart, The English Patient, all in a row. There's and then like some of the other notable nominees,
like Glory is nominated, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, yes.
And that's the same. Like, I know it's not, but it is.
It is. No, it is. Glory definitely follows a sort of like 1850s liberal sentimentalist version of.
But so is well, I mean, nothing is more liberal sentimentality than Driving Miss Daisy. Like generically, it can be as different as possible, but that is like the apex of liberal sentimentality.
Yeah.
I know this is gross, and I want to give it its full weight, but like, so is Schindler's List, because it's like one guy saved however many hundreds of people he saved, and so that's sort of like to some degree, like, good job, Liam Neeson. I'm sorry that 12 million other people died, but like,
Right.
you get the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's the famous Kubrick quote, right? The Holocaust is about 6 million people who get killed. Schindler's List is about 600 who don't.
Right.
Right.
It's also like a moment of I get like fussy about, like, well, it's 6 million Jews, but it's 12 million people in the camps.
Right.
Yeah.
So when not you, Devin, but like when a person puts it that way, it's like, that's conveniently leaving out all the queers and Roma and communists and
absolutely. Yeah. And it seems like something that it just seems to me like all of these films in the 90s are kind of doing something where it's like the Cold War has ended.
Yeah.
Right. Cinematic production during the Cold War is very tied into, the Cold War ideological project in ways that are specific and like I mean direct, as in like we're telling you what to put in the movie, and more like kind of diffusely ideological, right? Which obviously still continues. The guys get helicopters, by doing very specific things. It just seems like this decade of the 90s are actually a fantastic decade for cinema.
yes.
And generally the cinema that we think of as like, oh, that's like the great 90s movies is not being recognized here in these awards, right? It's instead these guys sort of like saccharine, bugless historical epics that are trying to sort of decide like how now that history has ended, how are we going to remember it, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like this question these are all asking. And you get a variety of answers to that, but it seems like what is kind of what people who want to think of themselves as making capital C cinema in a way that's palatable to the Academy and to sort of like kind of mainstream film criticism are gravitating towards is this kind of, this kind of what we've been unpacking in Last of the Mohicans.
I think we've got an answer for the IMDb reviewer who was mad that the director's cut didn't have like commentary or whatever. Let's have Francis Fukuyama do this. He's
been doubling down on the end of history for 30 fucking years.
I mean, hey, like tweeting through it before that was even a thing, and now continuing in the Twitter era, he's still tweeting through it. It's like, no, I was right actually.
And neither Frederick Jameson nor Michael Hart has a Twitter, so nobody to punch back.
So anyway, Ethan, do you want to introduce the Waltons?
Sure. We, I guess in our first season, it was Shia LaBeouf's that we rated on, and then we decided to move on to Walton Goggins. I don't know, Devin, if there was a specific reason for that like why Walton was chosen, or
I don't know. We were drinking and we thought of Walton Goggins.
I think it's actually great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what an actor. One of the most distinctive looking people, which he deploys so well.
But the way that this works is it works any way you want it to work. So there have been folks who have interpreted this rating system in many different and distinct ways. So you can, give a certain number of Walton Goggins from a particular film. You can give a actor or person that isn't Walton Goggins. It doesn't really matter. It's more just to give an indication of what you're taking away from the film. So I don't know if you want to kick us off, Devin, with your Walton Goggins.
Sure. And it's like, I actually, I quite enjoyed this film. It's got its problems, obviously.
Yeah.
As saccharine as it is, I love the score. Just like, and like, just when like it says just like Last of the Mohicans at the beginning, and you've got those swelling strings, like that just does it for me.
Yeah.
Some really great moments. Magua is just awesome, just fantastic villain.
Yeah.
Like, they like he reminds me a lot of like Killmonger and Black Panther in terms of like villains in films who I agree with and who are also the best parts of the films they're in.
Yeah.
And then the film has to kill them, but you're like, we didn't really want to. But that said, when I survey the field of Walton Goggins and I think how do I best encapsulate this film, I've got to give Walton Goggins as Marty Dickerson in 2005's The World's Fastest Indian to represent movies that seem like they're about Native people from the title that actually are primarily about whiteness.
Yeah.
That's my Walton
Very
Goggins
nice.
rating.
So I am a fan of Walton Goggins. I don't think I have his oeuvre to my head enough to be able to like pick a role. Can I do like a 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5 Walton Goggins? Does that work? Okay. So I'm gonna give Wes Studi 4 out of 4 Walton Goggins.
For sure.
Because he's the best part of the film. He makes Magua from a like LMAO, what the fuck, dude, do you know what a novel is? To like a really compelling character who does make some of the best kind of political points of the film. I said 4 out of 4 Walton Goggins. The film itself for Wes Studi, for the film itself, I would give 3 out of 4. I like Devin. I do really enjoy it. Like, if you want me, okay, so it's like, if you're asking me, like, is it good? Are its politics good? Is it not saccharine? I can't, like, no. There are a lot of problems with it, as you said. But, like, will I watch the shit out of it when it's on and, like, yeah, listen to that violin music and look how cool that they're firing 2 muskets at the same time? Yes, 100%. So 4 out of 4 Walton Goggins for Wes Studi and 3 out of 4 for the film as a whole.
Well, I respect that rating and your rating system. I'm gonna go a different way on the system, which is that how many teeth of Walton Goggins can you see at one time? Like, and so like
those
more
are all
teeth.
fake, right? He had every tooth knocked out of his head in an accident.
Wow.
I did not know that was why they were all
Montgomery
fake.
Cliff style. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I did.
Yeah.
That is astonishing. So how many fake teeth of Walton Goggins? Like a full smile, like a big grin, or a two? Just 2. I am gonna give it a 75.
Okay.
Because it makes you smile so wide. Whether it's the score, whether it's Daniel Day-Lewis with a deep V, or even shirtlessly in one surprising scene. Whether it's for heaving bosoms or bosoms with a hatchet lodged into it. I think there's something to like in this movie for everyone. Unless you like bugs, and then you're shit out of luck. But it's a 75 for me.
Okay.
I mean, God, I really feel like a downer over here, because this is like a 2 out of 10 Goggins for me. because he's just like way better than this movie. First of all, he's in Lincoln, so there you go.
Oh yeah, yes, he is. Yeah, you're right. He is.
Lincoln.
Because the smattering of Goggins' minor roles is better than this movie, but the number of Goggins' major roles, and I'm obviously thinking of Boyd Crowder here because that is one of the best characters in television of the last 20 years, is just far beyond anything this movie could ever do. And I don't care how good Wes Studi is; he's very, very good, but. It's still a 2 out of 10, man. The Goggins catalog is really deep.
I think that's fair. A little, and feel free to leave a review on IMDb about it because there are some Hall of Fame 2 out of 10s on that website reviews for this film.
Yeah, just make sure you wait till April.
Yeah. So I'm studying for an exam.
Oh,
what about you, Ethan?
Yeah, so I guess like a good lead-in because I was actually going to give this a Walton Goggins from Lincoln for this film, which is perhaps obvious because you've got the Daniel Day-Lewis in both of those. But I think like when you think about those characters that Daniel Day-Lewis is playing in these two films, it's almost like these two things that American film tries to present about the idea of America. So you've got Hawkeye being this like independent, out living off the land, just minding his own business. But if you screw with him, you will be murdered. Like he's going to take you out and get the woman in the end. And like, the last of the Mohican will be like, now I'm the last of the Mohican. And then they're going to pan over to the two white people kissing as the last scene of the film. Like, okay, and let's just reorient ourselves back here. So you've got that, but then you have like the Lincoln, which is this like myth of like the great American statesman that just like says the right things at the right time and really is about like coming together across the political aisle to like make progress happen. And I think that like that's also a central character in the American mythos that I think Daniel Day-Lewis portrays in that way. So I feel like it ties it together nicely. So I was going to give it a Walton Goggins from Lincoln. Yeah.
Awesome.
I put too much thought into it, I think.
Not at all. Not at all. Too much thought is what we're all about here. So thank you guys for joining us. Megan, Tristan, and Katie. It was fantastic having you here. Please let the listeners know where they can find you, where they can find Better Read Than Dead. Once again, the only good literature podcast, and our favorite podcasts, including better than this one. The favorite podcast of the Yortel universe.
Well, I guess I'm going to do our closer without the notes in front of me, so this will be improvisational.
Devin always fails when he tries to do that, so I'm curious.
You can find Tristan on Twitter at TJ Schweiger, Katie at Katie Crywo. You can find me at Tusslersaurus. You can find the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BetterRedPod, and email us at betterredpodcast@gmail.com to tell us what your favorite Walton Goggins role is, and especially if your favorite role is the GIF from The Righteous Gemstones that's just him saying, "Go outside, nerd." That's my personal favorite. Next up, we have Clotel.
No, I think we're doing I mean, that is something we should say. We're on a little bit of an unplanned hiatus just with personal stuff, but we will be back. We are making new episodes now. We will be back soon. I think early spring, right? Probably. Does that sound good?
That sounds right. With the variant noises of like Tristan's kid, my kid, Katie's neighbors doing whatever forms of construction they think are appropriate on the middle of a Sunday.
I actually think we'll be back with the monk before we get to Clotel, which I'm excited for. So,
and if you were listening to this on our podcast, you would hear the closing music of revolutionary communists, the Redskins, doing their Lev Bronstein.
Yeah, and instead here you get to listen to some synthesizers that I recorded in about 15 minutes once.
We don't get to hear the swelling violins of Trevor Jones.
Maybe we could put them in that this week. Get everyone raring to go whenever they listen. But yeah, thank you guys once again for joining us. This was great. You're welcome back anytime, whether collectively or individually. And listeners,
Watch Master
definitely
and
check out
Commander
Better
for
Red than Dead.
sure. Just bring Tristan on for.
Yeah, no, we should do that. We should
All
definitely
right,
do that.
Just let me know when I'm coming back.
Nice.
Sorry to
All
interrupt,
right.
Devin. Go ahead.
Oh no, of course. And thank you, listeners, for tuning into Your Tall, But I'm Standing in Front of You. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the podcast app of your choice. And do give us a 5-star rating. You can follow us on Twitter at Your Tall Pod. Follow Ethan at Mathasippi, or follow me at Stale Cooper. If you have thoughts about what you'd like us to talk about next, DM us on Twitter or email us at yourtallpod@gmail.com. Thanks again.